Franklin County Commissioners proceedings for Monday, April 19, 2004.
Our Franklin.
Yeah, and he wants to fly one at the hotel. I think that's great. Yeah, we'd have to pay for the cost on that.
VJ does? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
We went out and took a look at the hotel Friday, too.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
They're hard. They're going to be hard pressed to get that done by May 10th.
Oh, they're not going to make it for him.
I don't think so.
June 1st is going to be a hard deadline to meet.
I think so, too. I mean, what they've done is very nice, but they've got a lot of
Oh,
work
my.
left to do.
They've got a lot to go.
Okay.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda.
There's the second. All in favor?
Aye. Looks like that new gal across there has a mess. Whatever her name is.
I'd say so.
Oh, my God, look at that.
Thank you, sir. I heard Prosser. I don't... What did...
Across.
Across. All I heard was Prosser, and I'm thinking, I don't know.
Across from us. The new gal across from us. Nothing about Prosser.
Okay.
I was commenting on the mess you have in front of you.
You do have quite a mess. Trying to keep you busy.
I was out at that barbecue on Saturday night at the fire station in Basin City,
Oh, were you?
and everyone is concerned about DNR.
Mm-hmm.
What are the stamp please with the resolution number or no?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That way.
It's connected.
This just for Neva.
Yes.
Good.
One on sale out there. Did they all come in less than what was proposed before?
Well, I have the... Are you talking about that letter I had to put in your box? In your inbox?
Rick Smith?
Well, according to that letter that I read, the way I understood it is that they didn't have a second proposal on 9. So once those people backed away from 9, they didn't have any direction to go from there. The other 2 lots, basically, you guys...
We rejected those to
decided
begin
not
with.
to sell those. So...
But he's proposing to sell all 3 of them.
he's proposing to go back out and try to have the...
But we won't get a good bid for that much property.
That's, no, you're right. Normally the prices come down when you're trying to sell a larger chunk. So,
I don't understand that, was it Afton?
Afton property.
Why they give us a bid and then decided access wasn't good.
Well,
Didn't they know?
my opinion is that they didn't realize that strip mall was going in on the other side of the road. Because you get too many strip
You
malls.
think that might have affected their access?
I don't think it affected their access.
I think it
that-
did. I think it did.
Well, I think you're right. That probably had to take a good hard look at access at that point. But
Yeah.
I think the competition probably was what scared them away.
Yeah. Things that aren't important to begin with are more important to really get into it.
And I was talking to Pat Roach last week, and you too, Frank. I didn't see it in the paper. Of course, I didn't read the paper that day, but Walmart did announce that they're
Yeah.
going to open.
Yeah.
Gary just insists that it's going to be a good thing.
He feels it's going to be a plus. You're looking at 400 plus employees.
Yeah, but
for the-
look, minimum wage.
Well, they're employees though. people only take minimum wage when there are not better wages available.
Signing.
Okay, I need to ask you one question, and then I'll be done.
The questions we don't have any trouble with. The answers are a little bit different.
Just for the record, AmeriSuites would like to have one of our county flags flown at their hotel. So can we give them one of our county flags?
I move approval.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, the green.
And that's a Washington state flag there.
Sorry.
What's the county flag?
It's got
Franklin on it.
Franklin on it, Benjamin Franklin.
Now, you get the tie-in?
I got the tie and I just wasn't sure what it looked like.
It's green with,
Resembles the state flag.
but it has his picture on it. Yeah.
Our county planner didn't know what our county flag.
I've never seen one, actually.
Strike it. Strike
You know,
it,
when
Brady.
the state centennial,
We should have one in here.
every county was charged to go ahead and have a county flag. And Mitch Madison's, he's a school teacher out at Edwin Markham's son, designed, and his flag, his design was picked.
Do we fly one down to the courthouse?
I think we do, but I'm not certain.
We should have
But
one.
it's green.
Yeah, green with official Franklin on it, but we should have one in here, really. Pat, would you check and see if we have got one, haven't we? No, that's a Washington flag.
State. I keep telling everybody that's Washington
Yeah, we
State.
need to have a Frank.
Huh?
We need,
Did we used to have one in here?
I don't remember. I thought we did, but would you check and find if we have one next one?
But all those flags are in the state capitol.
Let me ask you a question as a planner. How many counties are there in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
You don't
More
know?
back east than there are.
That isn't what I asked you. How many counties
A
in the
lot.
Well, that's pretty close. What, you go along with that, Glenn?
I'll say there are.
3,000.
There's gotta be more than that.
No, I'd say there's
Nothing?
2,500.
I'm saying 5,000.
Wow, there's so much back
Just
east.
offhand, I'd guess it at 3,143. That's just,
There you
that's
go.
just an offhand calculated guess.
I was within 600.
That wasn't bad.
You were good.
And I tell you how I happen to know. Our
He had a
secretary,
cheat.
our secretary looked it up for us last week.
He cheated. I didn't know that.
Well, you
Is that-
made
is
a
that
you made a
counting
good
all the
guess.
townships?
Pardon me?
Is that including all the townships that are back east?
That includes.
Townships.
Are you trying to complicate this? I'll give you the copy of that.
Well, I've seen a United
There were
States
some individual tweaks on that thing that might change that number a little bit, but there's some individual tweaks.
Have you seen the United States map that outlines all the counties? I mean, just the comparison from east to west is just.
I've seen the one that I did during election time. I think.
The counties back east are just so small, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's just.
Yeah, the county I worked for back there was a quarter of the size of Franklin County. And it was a pretty big county. Land area, about 200 folks per month.
Yeah, without one state has 120 counties, I think.
Wow.
That Pat got that came up on what was that, Pat? You found it on?
On the internet.
You found it on the internet, but you found it. You went into what? Google,
Oh, yeah.
and you found it on Google. Yeah,
And how many counties are in Washington State, Mr. Pro?
39.
See
You
how-
didn't really think you were going to trip him up on that.
I just wanted to make sure. You knew the
Were you
United
trying to
States.
trip a commissioner?
No.
I think he was, Fred.
I think
I
you
actually
was
thought there was
too.
38.
Make a mark
We're
there.
done. What do you guys have? Are you next?
Yeah. I believe we're in
They're sitting there arguing, picking on with commissioner.
I just wanted to reiterate your intelligence.
Well, that was your.
It was my intent.
All right, that's better. Then.
You mind if we do a little planning commission appointment this morning? Or reappointment, if you're open for it? Dave Piavason's term expires April 22nd. He has, we ran it, publication in the Graphic and the Herald. We have had 3 applicants. Dave has reapplied. A gentleman by the name of Andrew Slinkard, and Esel Dans, all within the district that is open.
Which is up like facing the city.
Yeah, up near Russell Road. And Mr. Piavason has expressed interest for reappointment. I think Greg and I, in reviewing the 3 applicants, feel that Mr. Piavason would lend himself for reappointment and probably be the best candidate, in our opinion.
I move that we reappoint Dave Piavasson to the
Second.
Planning Commission.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. How can you second my motion when I haven't even completed yet?
I knew what you were going to say.
You couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's good that we have more than one applicant.
It is.
And our appointments for, what, 3 years on this?
6.
There's 6 years? No, that's,
It's in the Planning Commission bylaws.
okay.
And then here's also a letter.
Did you have a resolution? Was there a resolution for?
right here?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're signing. That was the motion. You know, this might be splitting hairs, Fred, but this letter from Denton County, Dave Everett, when did he retire?
It was last year, I think, just right at the end of last year.
January
Look at the,
Was it January?
2004.
Before the court case.
yeah. You know, when you have these attorneys.
I almost think we should go by what our amount is now.
All before the court case.
Well, didn't that come back and get us when Pete retired too, though? Aren't those retirement in?
Yeah, but they're charging us the last year's rate, Benton County is.
Well, if he retired at the first, that would be
And,
appropriate,
you know,
though.
tell me about,
Last year's,
don't we contribute to a fund for this sort of thing?
based on last
That-
year's rate.
But I don't know if it's actual retirement, but for their payoff on their vacation and sick leave and all of that. We pay into that dumb fund that we never get any benefit from. They're always asking for more money from us.
Are you aware of
Break
that, Brad,
away
one way or
from
the
it.
other?
No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, I didn't even see that in my agenda until I came in here to sit down.
What?
That retirement thing
Oh.
on Dave Everett. So this is all just new to me.
Well, the letter was addressed to you.
Well, but I haven't seen the letter yet. I just saw it this morning.
And that was in,
And I asked not to have that happen to me because
what was that in the,
Right here, it's board mail.
that was in what board mail?
Friday's your first.
Friday, both you and Sue signed them.
Here we go.
I think you missed one in there.
Did I miss one?
Second to the last page.
Can we,
actually I was going to ask that we not even go over that because I haven't even had a chance to get any information on that. How is it that you have my agenda already?
I don't, it's in the bird. The board mail.
It was in the
that
board
I'm
mail,
looking
Fred.
over.
Because you're going over each one of my agenda items, you're going over right now.
I am?
Yeah.
Oh. What else do you guys have?
We met with you 2 or 3 weeks ago in regards to the Department of Natural Resources leasehold tax. They're buying up property and leasing it back out, and we're only getting 47% of what we would typically get. And Greg contacted the Department of Natural Resources local representative, or in Olympia, Julie Armstrong.
Yeah, she's contacted Bill Boyum out of Ellensburg, as well as a couple of the local guys.
Uh-huh.
And we've the board requested that we sit down and have a meeting with him. So we have a meeting on Wednesday with the board, with DNR and Steve Marks, and to talk about leasehold tax and our.
But all of us are coming into ours.
Correct. They're coming into the full board on Wednesday. We just wanted to, give you a brief reminder and talk a little bit about. We've been doing some research on our customs and culture ordinance from '95. We've been wondering or asking the question: what kind of legal backing do we have as far as telling DNR that they need to coordinate these sorts of things with us in accordance with our ordinance? And we've been going through our implementation ordinance that we adopted last year that was derived from this, and it's really federally focused and has a lot of court cases and U.S. codes and CFRs and those things that cite very specific topics that are all federal, which didn't really help us state-wise. But, we were looking for this magic court case or RCW that dealt with state, and we overlooked something that just came about. In 94, Walla Walla, or 93, Walla Walla County, I believe, adopted their ordinance, which is verbatim to our ordinance. We plagiarized it. Word for word.
Did we do ours after?
After.
Oh, neat, but they had the court case, and we didn't do anything until they did.
So we were looking for this magic court case to hang our hat on, and didn't realize or didn't think about Walla Walla already has tested the validity of this ordinance in court. I mean, it went all the way to the Ninth
Court of Appeals.
Ninth District Court of Appeals, or circuit, whatever.
And did they lose?
And they won.
Oh, yeah, they won. Yeah.
There was a court case. It was a coalition of.
That was over growth management, though, wasn't it?
No,
No, it was specific to
It was
this
on this
ordinance.
ordinance.
Oh.
It wasn't a specific. It wasn't a federal agency or a state agency attacking the ordinance or a specific portion of the ordinance. It was a environmental group and a professor from one of the colleges challenged the validity of the entire ordinance, and it was ruled and appealed and went on down to San Francisco in the Ninth, and it was upheld that the ordinance was valid. So we do have a court case, and our ordinance is verbatim, identical.
And this is important, and this is kind of what we hung our hat on to begin with, and I think you think back, because that was so long ago, and we didn't do any implementation on it, and Walla Walla's situation was a little different because they have more forest.
Sure.
They have forest, period.
Yeah. We have juniper for it. But,
Yeah.
But, the lawyers are always they always cite the court cases. Well, now we have one we can cite.
Get the correct title of that court that they went to,
He's
the
got it
Ninth Court
there.
of Appeals.
Okay.
We,
What is that there? Isn't that what that is?
That's their opinion.
that's the
that's
Attorney General. I think it's this one here. And the only thing we have, which we're going to have to do some more digging.
We may have to put a call into the Walla PA's office and see if there's anybody still there.
From that period of time, and it's very
Well,
possible.
the prosecutor himself is.
Is he?
It's very possible, though, that their prosecutor didn't help much on that.
Okay.
Because
because the
they had a
attorneys aren't real.
guy named Bogus or Bogus, who was also was an attorney in Walla Walla. He was the one that was the front man on this for that group. Bogus was the front man.
I might be able to go on the internet too and
Yeah,
find some information.
the Washington Wilderness Coalition and Philip Brick, who is a professor, versus Walla Walla County, and the decision of the court. They actually came to trial or hearing before the court, and the issues have been tried or heard, and a decision has been rendered, and they entered a decision in favor of the defendants, which is the county. on the entire
They
validity.
spent something like $40,000.
Yeah.
We heard at that time Whitman and Walla Walla. I didn't know whether it was Columbia or Walla Walla.
And this was done in March of '95, and all of these, we have Attorney General's opinions that they can't, the counties can't do this, you can't supersede state and federal, but it was upheld after the Attorney General's opinions
But
came
the
in.
thing of it is, we cannot go over state or federal, and this didn't say that we could. The only thing you can make them come to the table.
Exactly.
And this is what we're looking at. Make them come to the table and follow their own law. And this is what we have to go with. And this is what we have to go with when they come in here.
And if that's the case, then we have a lot of land acquisition language in that 0995 that talk about no net tax loss, and if they want to purchase ground to come in and explain to us what the benefit of the county is going to be.
And that's important, that no net tax loss.
So how,
yeah.
we're not saying you can't do what you're doing, just how are you going to compensate us for this tax loss and to the betterment of the citizens of Franklin County
And the customs and culture. This ordinance was based on customs and culture.
and economic stability.
Yes, absolutely.
What it says is when land is acquired or held in trust by federal and state agencies, it may be removed from this tax base, and the citizens of the county may suffer as a result. So it does talk about it. And it talks about it has to be carried out to the benefit of the county.
Yeah.
So
And they weren't even aware that this thing existed, I know.
they weren't aware that this existed, and they weren't aware that leasehold tax, we didn't get 100% of what we were usually getting on a normal tax base, but now they...
Now, let me ask you this. On the leaseholds,
Yes.
we get 47%.
That's correct.
Okay, suppose they go back and it's not a leasehold.
What is it?
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Leasehold is of they make an agreement with somebody else and they pay taxes on it. But if they go back and put that in a reserve, then we get nothing.
We're out of luck, right? If
Then
they
we
go
get
out-
nothing.
If they go out and plant trees on it,
We're
turn
out
it
of
into
luck.
wildlife habitat,
We're
or put
totally
it
out
into
of luck.
CRP, we're done. Yeah.
That's right. But that's fine. I mean, that's from our standpoint, our argument, that makes it fine. We only get 47% under the best of circumstances.
That's
That's
correct.
under a leasehold tax.
That's correct.
But if they
And that's
plant
only
trees,
on what they're charging them. That's 47% of
Of-
whatever that is they're charging them.
Right.
I mean, so
And
it's not
Steve-
really 40% of the tax money we would get. It's less than that.
Well, and Steve said they're from what he can tell, they're charging a pretty fair market value, aren't they?
Yeah,
On the
here's
rail.
an example. Have you
For
guys
the
seen?
lease.
Have you guys seen? Did you guys see this last
I
time?
think so.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, yeah, we're instead of like $6,500, we'll be getting $4,500, and if they were leasing it out on an assumed rate.
So, we're going to be in here on Wednesday and kind of like how do we want to posture ourselves? How do we do we just want to I guess,
I think we'd better let them take their position and then tell them what our position is.
Okay.
Let them come in and explain what their position is and then tell them our position. Because
They outbid a private individual on the property that would have been
A full-
our tax base.
yeah, they've been paying
And
the...
so we lost out.
Kevin Heinen was the one that outbid.
I don't have a problem if they want to buy good habitat property that's not real, good farm ground. And,
Or on the tax rolls, I mean,
yeah,
very
I mean,
little tax
'cause
base.
it's not being taxed at a high rate or at a high farm ground, high productive ground. When they come in and outbid, and they got cash to pay, and
On productive farm ground.
And when the lady told me we're just trying to run our department like any other business, and that to me raises a lot of eyebrows.
Well, they are not a
Because-
business.
Exactly.
They are not a
And-
business.
and
They're
they-
a tax operated
And
entity.
they see Benton and Franklin County in our irrigated areas as a good place to invest their money. And I mean, they're pretty open about that.
And
Well, eventually, do they want to take it out of farm production?
we don't know. Who knows,
And we can't control it. I mean, they could come in and say we're going to allow it to be leased out and farmed forever, but then 2 months they could have a different manager
They-
come in and say
They can
we're
tell
gonna-
us anything they want to tell us. Once they control it, they can do what they want to.
Yeah, we have no control
Yeah.
over that tax space.
so I think it comes down to the position we want to take and how far we want to put them to task.
And I know a couple of the members of the NRAC would like to come if you folks don't have a problem. I put a phone call in
Who are
reminder.
Dave
Dave-
Motorola and
Steve
Steve
Cooper.
Cooper.
Yeah. They like to come and sit in the audience, I'm sure.
Well, I don't think we can have him. I mean, it isn't a public hearing or anything, so we can't, I don't see how we can have him participate.
We could
other
ask
than
for, we could
listen.
ask for their comments, so.
They could sit in the audience.
Oh, yes, this is a public meeting.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't. Yeah, like you said, I don't know.
But I don't want to have it controversial.
Get heated. At
But it is to the point now, it is controversial though. And they're people that are being impacted. And when they come in, I don't think, if we ask them to participate, I mean, that's up to you as chair. But I mean, I think we could ask them to participate, and it wouldn't hurt anything. 'Cause I'm not worried about hurting DNR's feelings. I mean, we need to tell them this is our stance, period. You know, this is why we adopted this ordinance. We spent a lot of time and effort putting it together. Now we're going to see if it works.
Well, and the department head should know he was county business. He was a county executive.
I can tell you that they weren't aware of the leasehold
Yeah,
information.
they're not really
The
up on
lady
a lot
who's
of
in
what
charge
they
of
do.
a lot of their land acquisitions out of Olympia wasn't aware of this.
But I mentioned this to you again. The
Judy
attorney,
Wilson?
No,
Wilson?
Julie Armbruster.
Oh,
Bogus was the attorney out of Walla Walla. He was on that tape. I haven't thought of his name in a long time. And he also managed Brochi out here. But Bogus was the lead person, did all the talking on the tape. And did you ever see the tape? We have.
okay.
We may
we're
even have a
cutting
copy of it
into
someplace
Fred's
here.
time.
Oh,
So,
But we'll just to let you know,
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
okay.
Good enough.
Is Sue due back by Wednesday? Okay.
She'll be back tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, guys. Glad you're back. Hi, Greg.
Yeah, it's nice to see you back, Greg.
Later.
Yeah.
Is it all? You haven't stand. Okay, we'll just do it.
I don't think we've given you enough time. 15 minutes for all of this?
Well, we're not too tight on schedule.
Also forgot to mention that Zona said she was going to come in on other business. And I'm not quite sure what the topic was other than she talked to Fred on Friday.
Oh, she's filling out a report.
Oh, on the PDF.
I'll have to think about it for a minute. I did talk to
Okay,
her.
the first item is,
This is the professional services contract for Campbell and Bruce for the maintenance of Franklin County facilities, the HVAC.
They went out for bid, and we already approved that, didn't we?
Yes, well, you awarded them the bid.
Yeah.
The
And then there
bid
was a
came-
change
that's-
on it.
this is a resolution.
Yeah, bid came in at $130,653.12, divided 3 equal payments of $43,551.04.
Now, just for our edification, they had 30 days to go back and,
They have not given me a letter at this point, but even awarding this bid, they still have 30 days to go over there, to go through the
but
equipment.
what I'm counting, I don't want us to get bit on this thing because of it.
I don't think we would, Frank, because the way it happened last time was if they come back and they take a look at the equipment and they determine that there is a piece of equipment that is too risky for them to put under the maintenance agreement, then they'll give us that list, and at that point we have a choice to either have them fix it and put it under maintenance, or wait until it breaks down and then put it under maintenance.
Because I know that's the way they conducted their bid, and that's why they beat everybody.
Well, all of them actually had that same opportunity.
But the other guys weren't as hep on it, Brad.
Well, that's right, they weren't, because Scott basically, well, of course, Campbell and Bruce, I mean, they had that maintenance contract for the last 3 years, so those guys should have known perfectly well what the situation was on that. I think Morrison was the second low bidder, And actually, the second low bidder was Apollo, but they left out the pavilion.
We'd already approved this, but we didn't approve the resolution, I don't think. I moved the approval of resolution 2004-202.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, I just know there are all sorts of games played when you try to get things. And I was just,
Here's the contract.
what is this we're signing?
The contract.
Oh.
Geez, didn't we put a bunch of money?
There you go, Fred.
Didn't we transfer, God, what's it called? Civil, no, not civil service,
Miscellaneous board budgets.
40.
Yeah.
Here's some contract.
Good grief.
I move for approval of inter-budget transfer of $1,000 from contingency reserve to miscellaneous board's budget.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's,
There was only $2,000 in there, from what I understand, to begin with.
You know that Pat Turnoff's thing. Lots 4, 5, 8, and 9.
Yeah, I just put that. I received a letter last week. I looked it over, and I kind of anticipated this coming, but I just put it in your mail so you'd have a chance to look it over.
Yeah, we read the same thing.
I thought we'd just discuss it a little bit today. Until that property closes out there, I don't think anybody's willing to go anywhere or do anything at this point because of trying to get that one closed. The one with the bank.
One on the corner, yes.
Right. So
I think that's very good advice.
the other three, you know, I think this is just for something to think about as to what you might want to do.
what is all of this? Is that already platted out?
Now that belongs to, I believe it is, if I remember right, Bureau of Land Management. Isn't that who owns that? They were actually trying to get AmeriSuites to lease a piece of property from them. This is all leased property. They're not wanting to sell it. They want to lease it out. And they're not having much luck with it because of the amount that they're looking for on the leases. AmeriSuites was dealing with them before they actually came across and found out that Franklin County had a piece of property for a hotel, and the length of time and the amount of the lease, they couldn't get any bank or any investors to even finance a project for the hotel that on a leased piece of property. It's pretty tough. So, yeah, I know that they've done that. But
I was going to comment on that. AmeriSuites Hotel, you know, they got the little part on the end that they haven't got fenced, you know, right on the end of on the west end. You know, it comes out there.
it goes all the way out to the road.
Yeah, they haven't got that fence. And across the road there, is that big spot? Is that where Walmart's going to go in? That big lot?
You know what, Frank? I don't know exactly where it is going.
No, well, I guess I'm wrong. I guess they go in between Wrigley and Burden. Yeah, it's above that. Yeah, they go between Wrigley and Burden. That's what the paper said. Well, that's an interesting map.
And I think the city, when it comes to those 3 lots, I think they're just wanting to basically do one more deal. But
But I sure don't like the idea of a movie house in there.
they don't either. It takes too much parking. You'd lose so much by doing that. Movie theater just wouldn't work out too good there, I think.
Okay, so
Of course, a lot depends on what they'll pay. You know what I'm saying? It may not be the most compatible, but
Well, I've talked to the guys on that movie theater, and they actually wanted to go into those 2 lots that the county is retaining, just right west of Convention, and rent the parking lots, because I told them we were going to put parking lots in there. And they were wondering if their peak times, if they could rent the parking lots from us. And I said, well, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. I said, county's, always interested in basically accommodating the public, and then also, making, for lack of a better way to put it, making revenues to go towards the track thing. But they need such. Their peak times are like Christmas Eve, and there's only a few times in the year that they would really expand into these other parking lots. But I think
really
it would take too much.
I am concerned about our parking and future parking. I think that has to be a real concern.
Well, right now, Rob's working on those 2 parking lots out in front of the track, putting those 2 grass fields in, and I'm assuming that part of that $1.58 million will go towards the development of those parking lots. I mean, it's kind of been the discussion as to what we're going to do with some of that money. So, but I do think we need to expand the
we've got
parking.
another retirement with Mary Lee Pickett.
Who's that? Oh, over at Juvenile Center.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to talk to that. As a matter of fact, I asked Bridget not to put this stuff on my agenda until I've had a chance to go over this stuff, and she said she put it together Friday. I went out and I asked her about it. But apparently there is in the 700 budget, there's $2,000 budgeted for this type of a thing that we have in there. So I want to pull this off the agenda until I have a chance to at least answer some of the questions that you have, because right now this is all new to me.
Got some of these retirements are really hit us heavy.
But if you look
Lifers.
at our budget from juvenile, they've got that line item that we pay into every month.
Mm-hmm. I know which one you're talking about. I couldn't tell you exactly what the name of it.
And I said, I don't, that money is for the benefit of Benton County.
No, is that the? I'd have to look me up. I know it's in the Superior Court one, but I can't say if it's in the juvenile.
It is definitely. It's a big item too.
Well, I'll look into it.
I thought we had a juvenile budget full. I think we do somewhere around here.
Well, I have the book, but it shouldn't have been on my agenda today.
Okay. All right, so we're not going to talk about it.
Okay.
And then what else is there?
Not nothing.
Anything else on the courthouse moving?
Where are we with that? I'm going to do a walkthrough tomorrow morning with Becky with Beacons, and I did get that done. She's asking about $3,500 more to finish up the move, which would put us at about $33,500 to finish up the move.
Did you want something, Rebecca?
I was looking for my planners.
They left here about 10 minutes.
They didn't go back to their office? We'll put a bell on those guys. Thank you, Rebecca, for letting us know.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to walk through there tomorrow to find out. There's more stuff left on the third floor than will fit into the 2 portables that's being done. I've stopped pretty much all the work in the work release portable, other than the two offices that's going to be the judge and the administrator's office. It will be their office temporarily while the courthouse is being done. We're pretty much out of money in the capital improvement fund, so whatever we're finishing off will come out of the courthouse restoration fund because it will be housing the judge and the administrator, so that's a legitimate expense to do that. We should be finished, well, anyway, whatever's left, we're going to be taking not the benches, but the jury seats out of the little courtroom and moving them out to that courtroom. But whatever's left, we're going to determine what we want to do with it. Because a lot of stuff that's over there. I was over there walking through that Friday. Actually, there was a
Junk, isn't it?
it is junk,
It's
and
junk.
we need to determine what it is that you want to do with that stuff.
What about
Once
the big
it's-
benches in the big courtroom, Brad?
Those are our,
Yeah,
those
they
are
will
original.
be. They will stay. We're going to leave them right there because
They got to be
contract-
refinished, so.
The contract. It's in the contract courthouse remodel for that to be all be refinished. We only have one bench left over. If you take the benches out of the little courtroom, those are benches that were originally came out of the original courtroom. Since the courtroom's going to expand, we're going to use all of those benches except for one, and it will be put out in the circular area for the public to sit on. We're going to
Don't
leave
we
those.
have a bench out there now?
We do. We have one up to now. They were wondering if we wanted to eliminate the sitting areas, but I think that would be hard to do. You got to have a place for people to sit when they're out there. So anyway, one bench will still remain out there. Those benches will be done. As far as what we're going to do inside the temporary courtroom for chairs, we'll just do what we can. We'll just do what we can. I don't know how many chairs it's going to take. And I was absolutely surprised at the amount that these chairs are selling for these days. What were they, $100 a piece or something?
Yeah, this quality of chair, God, I can't.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So that's kind of what's happening there.
Well, those chairs are pretty sturdy, though.
No, they are.
I was going to ask you a question, Fred. Did we end up donating that piano that
Yes.
we had a track to who?
The school district.
The school district ended up with that. Which school, do you know? Or it doesn't make a
I
difference.
think it just went to the Pasco School District corporate office, head office, and then wherever they wanted us.
Because they got a brand new piano.
Oh, yeah, that was brand new. I think the only use it got was being pushed from one room to the next.
We never used it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were going to have Kiwanis and chamber meetings out at track, and so they'd need that piano. We've never used the piano at Kiwanis or chamber that I know of yet.
Ever? I never, no.
Out
Anywhere.
at the Red Lion, they don't even use a piano,
No.
and they have them.
No, I don't. We just have a lot going on. We're going to move Rob into that the coroner's old office. I've already talked to Rob about it.
I talked to, when I was down there, I poked my head into Libby and I told her,
Well, you were right ahead of me because every place I went, you had just left.
Oh.
And so
No,
I
no,
walked
Rob, you're saying that we're going to move the engineer to Libby, not Libby's, but the coroner's old office.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know much of
Anyway, that's all I have.
okay. So how is Tim? How was your trip?
it. I am groggy.
When did you
Still
get home?
suffering Saturday from jet lag. And cleaned my desk off.
I move the approval of vouchers for County Road, Motor Vehicle and Public Works Equipment Fund, Solid Waste Fund, Probation Work Crew, and Capital Outlay budgets as listed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, this has to be a bill.
Probably.
A love letter from Dennis, huh?
Yeah.
You don't want to say that,
Yeah.
And then this next one is a certification that I didn't think we had to sign because we didn't expend anything on fish passage, burial, removal off of our county right of ways. But they want, even though we didn't spend anything, they still want us to send this
Okay.
in. It basically said we didn't spend anything on that.
They basically, what, Tim?
It certifies that we didn't spend any money outside our right of ways for removal of fish barriers, any county road numbers outside of county road right of way, removing fish barriers, which is legal to do up to a certain amount. Yes.
That's, you want to make the motion from that? Authorize chairman to sign.
Fine, identifying. Okay. I move for approval of the certification of road expenditure, of the road fund expenditures for fish barrier removal.
Certification.
Pardon?
It's just a certification.
Yeah, certification of road fund expenditures for fish barrier removal.
For the year 2003. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. And authorize the chairman's signature.
That's it.
Well, you got us back on schedule.
Yeah, and I tell you, you're all right,
You
Tim.
want a copy of that?
Yeah, Mary usually wants.
There you go, Neighbor.
Unless you got some questions, and I'm not sure I can answer them anyway, but
You can handle the questions with the answers.
I don't have anything.
everything run okay while it's going?
I think so.
I heard
I think
Dennis
until you
came in
leave.
my place one time. How'd that work out?
Dennis is Dennis.
You know, there is one thing I want to chat with you about. We're looking at hiring, well, we've already hired Rob full-time, but we're going to...
Oh, you have?
Yeah. But we hired him through your office.
Okay.
I went out there to talk to, it was Friday. It was Friday that you were gone. They thought I was out there checking up on him, but I was actually talking to Pam about through the union to find out they were going to have a problem hiring Rob. But we're going to bring him in, and he's going to oversee the courthouse remodel.
That would be good.
You
You
will
do a
be,
good
yeah.
job. You did a good job out there.
Yeah, I did it.
He's one of those employees you kind of hate to see go.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
But I thought it would probably work out better if we left him through you. We've got an office for him, the old coroner's office, where we're going to put the construction office for him in there. But he's working on those parking lots for him right now. So.
Yeah, I saw him over there in Matt's office working on the parking lot.
Well, if he's I don't know. I don't think he has his EIT right now, but he is going for his PE in time. So that should work his time for him, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not going to be 100%.
Oh, yeah.
It
That
counts
would be
towards
better than having us hire him through current expense, because I can't help it, but you can.
Yeah.
So it'd be better for him for his future. So,
Okay.
so anyway,
No, that's good.
That's a plus for him, too, then.
Well, he's a good. If we could, we'd put him on.
Well, we'll be able to keep him, I'm thinking September, probably December of next year, and anything can happen between now and then.
Yeah, right.
But if something opens up, well, we'll cross that bridge
When
when
that
it
happens.
comes. You know what, I gotta have him to the end of this project, you know,
Yeah, I understand
unless
that.
he moves on. But he's just one of those really rare finds.
But he can do some other things. He can do some other things for us during the project.
But see, if something opens up, he has, because he has been working for us. He has seniority on anybody from the outside.
Well, the only, and I kind of hate to bring this up, but say something opens up halfway through the courthouse, I still gotta have
I
it
know.
for the courthouse.
Once he starts, he needs to finish.
Well, we don't want to have another Joe Schiller. I want that to be part of the record. No.
No, you don't need another one of that.
I think it'd be a great project.
It will be. In fact, I kind of wish I was doing it. It'd be fun.
I thought I was doing it until about 2 weeks ago.
Well, you'll be involved.
Oh, you couldn't keep me away from it.
Okay, Darren. Do you have lots for us?
No, not really. I've got about 10 minutes of executive session for potential litigation. Unless you have some things before that in open session.
I have nothing.
Do you have anything, Fred?
Well, the only, and I'll just mention it, those cellular contracts, we're finishing those up on this end. Do you want to look them over before we send them back out? I mean, you've already
I
looked them over.
can. I assume they haven't changed other than the stuff we've talked about.
No, other than our conditions that we put in, and that's just our terms. But the body of the contracts have not changed at all. But, I'll send them to you and them at the same time.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. 10 minutes of executive session? Oh, I'll leave that up to management.
You want me to leave?
I can't imagine anything in here that's going to...
As with Sunderland, unless you have a conflict with Sunderland. Dave Hopper will probably be talking to you here in a week or two with a little bit more detail, but I wanted to give you a heads up. I met with Dave Hopper and with the Benton County Deputy Prosecutor and some of Dave's staff last week. As you recall, a year or so ago, there were some issues with Sunderland Family Treatment Services, who they give a whole lot of grant money to do the things they do. At that point, the issue had to do with Sunderland, the person who was running Sunderland, decided in their infinite wisdom to not only be a public mental health service provider, but they wanted to grow a private practice out of the same building. And the concern we had was that it appeared they were using a large quantity of public money in their efforts to develop a private practice. At some point during that negotiation, and eventually that leader was kicked out, and a new board picked a new director, and I think the board was reorganized a little bit too to have a little bit more oversight than they were using in the past. At some point in that process, there was at least some level of understanding about how much money had been not used for what it was supposed to be used for, and that figure somewhere around $900,000.
Oh my God.
And there was, I think, this plan in general, at least, that it would be paid back over time, that they would essentially work down the debt, I think. by
900,000 they want to pay back over time.
And again, Dave can give you more details. The reason we were involved again last week, however, unfortunately, is Sunderland recently had their most recent audit of themselves through their accountants through the relevant time period, which is, I guess, roughly a year or two ago now. And according to their accountant, imagine that, he doesn't think there really is a $900,000 problem. In fact, they seem to believe that if we really just look at this more realistically, that previously they hadn't properly counted all the public stuff that they were using for public mental health, and in fact probably the number is close enough to zero not to worry about it, and we should all just ignore this and move on in our lives. So, as you can imagine, that may cause some issues. Dave, based on the meeting he had with myself and one of the Benton County deputies last week, they will be sending a response letter, which essentially reminds them that, wait a minute, we had some level of an agreement of what the number was in the past. We believe that's still accurate. Yes, we do need to work on how this is going to get properly reallocated. And frankly, I'm not at level enough of accounting to understand all the details of how we do this. I think in the general saying, and Dave probably can give you a better explanation, maybe I'm just dead wrong, but I think the initial plan literally was, they've taken $900,000 and done whatever they've done with it, and the way we pay ourselves back, essentially, is over time they do additional work with less grant funding to pay down the $900,000. And of course, the problem we've had from the beginning of this, we've talked to Dave quite a bit, is maybe we just need to find a new treatment provider and send our grant money somewhere else, and the problem always comes back that there really aren't very many good options. Sunderland is a major part of the Human Services Department's programs, and it would be very difficult, to say the least, to simply take that money out tomorrow and make everybody walk to a different location.
But I don't understand
But
how
I think,
this is done.
Well,
Take out 900,000 over a period of time. Who are you going to short $900,000?
and that's, and maybe Dave can give you some better answers for that.
I bought a baler from Achi one time, and his wife arranged a trip for my wife and I. She worked at the travel agency over there.
Couple.
I liked Archer. I didn't know his wife well, but I liked Archer.
They're both of them so talented, I can't believe it.
I don't know who these people
That's Nancy's
Neva's son-in-law's
in-laws.
parents.
Yeah, but you want me to call someone?
Pardon?
You want me to call
Oh,
someone?
sure.
No, Archie was an awful nice guy to deal with. field. He was a field man.
He can build anything, do anything, and she can sew and crafts and.
But he started that business. Got a New Holland dealership after he left here. Didn't he?
That's why he left. He didn't get the Pasco one. So he got his own.
But then Bill got the Pasco.
No, this Bill was
Bill
due
managed?
due to retire or something.
Well, Bill
Anyway.
retired at that time.
He's answering.
Well, I suppose now's
I
as good a
believe-
time as any to bring it up.
What?
Probably not. I can tell by the look in your face.
I'm putting a new heating and air conditioning system in my house, and so I'm going to probably take a few days off. There's no real problem with it.
RV park's done.
Yeah. Actually, I was kind of wanting to take a few days of vacation too. Might as well just bleed this out as long as I can. You know? I'm not looking at
The best you can hope for is 1-to-1 here, Fred. Now,
Well, actually, Thursday I had it scheduled to do Thursday and Friday, but Thursday I got too much stuff happening here, so I'll be here Thursday. But Friday and maybe Monday and Tuesday.
you're putting a new air conditioning and heating system in. Now's a good time to do it, though.
You know, I had 3 bids: Apollo, Campbell and Bruce, and Morrison. And I got such a good deal with Apollo that I can't. Actually, what it is Happel has a FHA home improvement loan that's actually about the same amount of what my cost savings would be for putting in this new furnace. So it'll almost be a wash across. It's over the legislation, and I said, yeah, we have a contract with him to keep us informed as what's going on at the legislation, and then if we have any issues to take them to him. So she said, well, the amount of it wasn't significant enough to really go through a process for it, and that if she had any more questions, she'd give me a call. And that was about 3:30 Friday afternoon, and I never heard another.
I don't understand what you're asking, Fred.
Well, I guess there's an audit. There's an audit that the state had sent out to the auditor's office asking
If we'd done any lobbying.
Well, yeah, it was. Had we hired a lobbyist?
And he is our lobbyist.
Yeah, and I told her, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but she said the amount that we pay of $3,500.
$300 a month, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it wasn't enough to go through this whole process for this lobbyist. So.
Something with the PBC, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, and I didn't really pay that much attention to it. I mean, I answered her questions, and she said.
I think Jim has 14 counties, and then he has that guy, that Mike, that he has hired. He pays him $3,000 a month when they're in session, which he said is the best money he ever spent. And then the Wasac pays him. In addition, Wasac pays him.
Well, I talked to Jim last week when I was in Chelan about farm worker housing out in the Basin City area. If this whole water sewer thing goes through.
When is the vote on that? The 17th of May or something?
18th, yeah. Yeah. That's what he was in here on last week.
Yeah, I said, and he told me he was going to come down and visit with you and go
Yeah.
up to that Eltopia area because the guy had been calling him or something. But
Well-
I think Basin City would be a great spot for farm worker housing.
And the deal in Eltopia is done until we come up with some kind of a method of either getting hooked onto that Bureau of Water, or they would agree if whoever would come in there would put some kind of a deionizers on it, to take away the nitrates. They're worried
We're
about
done,
getting a
huh?
high nitrate and then having litigation on it.
Yeah. That whole farm worker housing thing, what little bit I do know about it, I think that could be, you would almost have to have a certain percentage of it full-time resident, and then you would have to have a percentage of it of, your workers coming in and out. And he was talking to me a little bit about it a week or so ago. But I think Basin City, I know talking with some of the folks up in Basin City, Summer Four, of course, the guy who owns that mobile home park up there,
Yeah.
not too fond of the idea.
Well, Anton Price has got a mess across the street. Anton Price. But Anton, once they approve that bond issue, that he's going to have to make a deal or not make a deal as far as his leach
Sewer
ponds
lines,
down
yeah.
there. And then he also has that access pipe going down there. And, you know, he can't pick and choose what the town does.
But he's hoping they'll buy it. And it's probably reasonable to think that they will buy it.
And
But
this
what
is-
else are they going to do?
This would be the only thing for them to do, is to buy it. And as I understand it, and I don't understand much of it, but apparently what he has is not adequate to take care of the town.
Right.
Maybe you were telling me that, Fred, or somebody was.
Well, you know, I can't remember, Skip something, Ram or somebody came in, and he's with the state, and he rounds up state and federal dollars for water sewer districts and towns like Basin City, and he was talking about this processing plant that they would actually purchase and bring in, and that would basically, what Anton had down there would suffice for taking care of the Fort Sister.
With a processing plant.
With this processing plant that would come in, and they have funds for that. So this thing could really take off, and Basin City could have an opportunity to grow, and I guess I kind of went off here, but the guy who owns that water system, he would, I think he would be smart to sell his water rights in his existing system, because if they go ahead and do this water sewer district, if they can get the water rights, I think that's going to be the biggest key right there. And they'll just dig right alongside his lines and put in new lines. I think he.
Well, and the system they have is totally outdated, inadequate.
But he's kind of kicking up a little bit of a fuss, from what I understand too. But he's not willing to put any investment into it. So.
Probably doesn't have the money to,
Yeah.
But I think this election, they're on the right track, and they need to find out how much money they're going to have available to them, and go from there.
I think they know how much will be coming in based off of their assessments and the parcels that they have.
They should be able to figure it out and figure they leverage that money.
Well, the whole idea is, they couldn't really afford it on their own, but without the water sewer district, they could not go out for the state and federal money. And they could probably get up to 3/4 of it all paid for, and then they would just pay the remaining 20%.
That would be great. I know that MISA, got some money. No, we gave MISA money through regional council, I believe, that they got some funding for their sewer system, for their sewer processing plant.
I know Anton's come and talked to me a couple of times. He's just wants to know where we're at and how we're going. This is, since Leonard, he was concerned that it wasn't going to be a water sewer. He wanted to make sure that the sewer was attached to the
Well, that's where they set up a water sewer district. The Barnett's, Doris's father-in-law has been involved in this for years and years. From one of this, as I understand it, he probably is as knowledgeable as anybody out there. Then Len has kind of taken the lead on this.
Yeah, Len's actually been the one that's been heading this whole thing.
Yeah, but his dad, I think, before him was very active in the same issue. And his dad is still there.
Okay.
Okay, are we adjourned, Madam Chair?
We are adjourned.